Comparative anatomy has three parts: homologous structures, vestigial structures, and embryology. Homologous structures is the similarity due to a common ancestry. They're similar because they are inherited from the same ancestor. An example of this would be fins and limbs. Vestigial structures are behaviors, features, and adaptations that no longer serve a purpose in the current organism itself, but served a purpose in the past lineage of the organisms and the ancestor. An example of this would be a tailbone or an appendix. Embryology is the study of the prenatal development within the actual gametes, the fertilization and the development of the embryo and the fetus itself. In the early stages, you can actually see similarities between organisms when they share a common fetus or embryonic structure. A specific example of homologous structures as seen in this photo is forelimbs. As seen in this photo, tetrapods, the tiktaalik, and fish all have a homologous structure which is seen through the forelimbs that is derived from a common evolutionary ancestor. Each of these animals have a similar structure, but then they are adapted and modified differently to the animal's needs, as seen through swimming, weight-bearing in shallow water, and flying. An example for a vestigial feature is for other animals and mammals, a tail was very useful for balance, but when humans started to become bipedal, walk, and stand fully upright, the tail became useless, and so evolution adapted it and modified it to become a fused vertebrae that we now call the coccyx or a tailbone. A specific embryonic development is the postanal tails. As you can see in the photo, evolution has adapted this postanal tail to become a tail into a tailbone over time for certain organisms. This photo and postanal tails themselves show and support evolution through how organisms were modified to adapt to what they were doing at the time. Also, through this photo, you can see how the postanal tails are actually developed and shown in the same place in each embryo, which shows that we all come from a similar and common ancestor, but as we mature, it changes due to the differences in our own evolutions. These two things support evolution by showing how, although we all come from a common ancestor, over time our organisms have adapted to what we need and use in the current day. In that sense, the evolution of the coccyx can be seen in human organisms all the way